Good morning. Good morning, social media, Facebook. This is Miss Will, the freelance inquisitor. And as you know, generally on every Saturday, I come on live at 10, 11 o'clock, and I bring you persons from the community so we can know what's in our community. We go from entrepreneurs to the elders living here in our cities, the older person, young people that's bringing new business into our city. And really, this my site is to make you aware of what's going on in Polk County and trying to bring us up to a level to reach out to other people that might not feel that they can do these occupations. So, with that being said, this morning we're going to bring to you um, attorney Bobbers,
Babers.
Babers. I don't know how I can. Babers, and she is running for
Circuit
Circuit
Court
Court
Judge.
Judge, the 10th Circuit, Group 23. And I don't really, I'm just going to confess, I don't really know about the operation of judges and all of these different things, but I'm going to have Attorney Babers to introduce herself and first of all give us a little bit of her background because as I said, we want to reach out to, I'm not going to even say just brown people, light skinned people. We are reaching out to all the people who feel that they are beneath and they can't do it. They don't want to do it. We just want to encourage people to go to the next level. So we have Attorney Babers to introduce herself and tell us some of her background.
Okay. Well, I am attorney Lakeisha Babers. I am currently running for Circuit Court Judge for the 10th Judicial Circuit, seat 23. The 10th Judicial Circuit includes Polk, Highlands, and Hardee County. Polk County is the largest of the three counties. Hardee would be the smallest. I have been an attorney for over 20 years practicing here in the 10th Judicial Circuit. I have experience in pretty much everything that a circuit court judge does. I've done family law, I've done probate, I've done guardianship, I've done criminal. I have done suits where people are suing each other for different dollar amounts, which that pretty much those areas are what encompasses what a circuit court judge would be able to hear. The difference between a circuit court judge and a county court judge is a circuit court judge hears felonies, do divorces, and all family law cases. So your child support, your paternity, all of that files up on your domestic violence injunctions, all of that files up under a circuit court judge. Your felonies are under circuit court judge. If someone dies and you have to go to court to get the property changed, that's probate. That falls up under a circuit court judge. If you have an elderly person that can no longer care for themselves and needs someone else to step in, guardianship falls up under the circuit court judge. If you have a child that is severely autistic and or has cerebral palsy, but any other mental or physical condition that would prevent them from being able to take care of themselves once they reach the age of 18, you would need a guardianship because your parental abilities cease once a person becomes an adult at 18. So that would also fall up under the circuit court jurisdiction. Felonies, of course, and then if you sue someone for more than $50,000, that falls up under the circuit court. And circuit court judges can serve in all three counties, so Polk, Highlands, and Hardee County. A county court judge hears everything that a circuit court judge doesn't, so your misdemeanors, your small claim suits, all of those fall down in county court. And county court judges are specific to the county. So if you have a Polk County county court judge, they can only hear things for Polk County. It's likewise for Highlands or Hardee County people. And then for voting purposes, if you're county court, you show up only on the county that you would be in. For circuit court, we show up on the ballots for all three counties.
Okay, you said a mouthful, and you're probably going to have to go through some of that again. But what I want for you to tell us at this point of time. Tell us something about your younger days. And I know you graduated from Haines City. You went to UF,
No, ma'am. I am a Florida State Seminole.
Florida State.
I graduated from Haines City High School, left and went to Tallahassee for 7 years. Well, really 6.5. I have an undergraduate degree I have a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. I got that in May 2003. Then I got my law degree in December of 2005 from Florida State College of Law. And then I have what I call my insanity degree. I have a Master's of Business Administration and with an emphasis in project management that I earned in 2013. It is my insanity degree because I told myself when I finished law school, I was not going back to nobody's classroom to do nothing. But I promised a friend that if they wanted to get an MBA, I would get an MBA with them, not thinking they was going to actually turn around and go enroll and call me and say, okay, I did it. I need you to call and do it. And I'm looking at their fiance because they were literally getting married like the next month. You let him do that? So I ended up getting the MBA, and it's in project management because my hope was that it would provide a bridge between my computer science degree and my law degree. It did not. It just made me more educated.
Okay, so I want to go back even further than that, a little deeper.
Okay.
So tell us, as a child, were you thinking attorney? What made you come to the point of wanting to be an attorney? Was it kind of like you getting this degree that you're talking about? Did you talk a lot when you was a child and you just knew you was going to be an attorney? What brought about that?
Well, first, misconception. All attorneys don't talk a lot. You have some attorneys that are extraordinarily quiet. You also have attorneys that never have to go to court. Most attorneys never see the inside of a courtroom. I have friends that were blind attorneys. I have attorneys that have cerebral palsy. So there's different types of attorney. I decided when I was in first, second, third grade, so early elementary school, that I was going to be a Supreme Court justice because there were no Supreme Court justices that looked like me. And if I became a Supreme Court justice in the United States, I would break two barriers at once because I would be the first female justice and the first Black justice. Since then, of course, we've had both, so I don't have to do that anymore. But in order to become a Supreme Court justice, you have to be a judge. And in order to become a judge, you must first be an attorney. So I'm like, okay, I'll be an attorney. And so it has taken me over 20 years to make it to the point that I'm willing to become a judge. Because by the time I finished law school, as a kid, you don't understand all the things that go around or go along with particular roles. So by the time I finished law school, I discovered that, hold on, being a judge ain't everything that it seems like it would be.
Yeah.
Because I found out that judges get things like death threats. I found out that at the time that I graduated law school was when Terry Schiavo's case was going on. And the judge on that case got put out of their church. And it's like, wait, people want to put me out of my church for doing my job? All I'm doing is my job. But I found that people have really strong opinions about you doing your job. And so it was a first. I didn't want to do something that would ever put someone close to me in danger. So it took my family and my friends a long time to get me on the side of I cannot be worried that I take the bench and my decision results in something negative happening or some crazy person coming after them, because I can't go into it looking that way. That as a person of faith, if I believe that God is watching over me and has been watching over me and us all of this time, I have to believe that if he puts me in that position, he will continue to do so that my friends and family members are not in danger. Especially since over the last 20 years, let's go with the information that people could find out about you 20 years ago is significantly less than what they can find out now. Mm-hmm. That's a whole lot easier for someone to find out who your friends and family members are, or where you live, or where you work, or what places you frequent. Yes. And so for me to take this step took a lot. but I can't not do it at this point because I have a thing. I don't ask other people to do things that I'm not willing to do myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I'm not willing to stand in the gap when I'm qualified to do so, to provide a stop to some of the illegal actions and rulings that are going on, when people decide that they don't have to do their job or obey the oath that we all take to uphold the constitutions and the laws because XYZ people are more important, that okay, so like my nieces and nephews have lost rights that I had. And I never imagined there would be a world that there was kids being born that were having less rights than the people that came before them. We're all supposed to get more as time goes on. We're not supposed to get more restricted.
Well, like I said, you're talking really fast. So when you're saying that the kids getting, because I want people to have something to take away from this. So when you're saying that kids have less rights, give us a little bit more details, like what?
Okay, so I'll take you back to some rights that we have gotten that are now in danger. So my grandmother was born in 1936, my maternal grandmother, and my mom was born in 1962. I was born in 1981. For each generation, it was something that as we came up that I could do that they couldn't. For example, when my grandma was born, as Black women, we couldn't vote.
True. Yes.
When she couldn't get birth control.
Mm-hmm.
She couldn't have, when my mom was born, women still couldn't have a bank account without having a man on it.
True.
You could not go buy a house without having to have a man on it. You could still actually when I was born, it was not illegal for your spouse to rape you.
Yes, you're right.
My first niece was born, it is 2026. So she was born in 2015 because she'll be 11 this year. By the time she was born, all those things were things that we could do. Her health care was not at risk because part of what came when we got our birth control, that was part of the same decision that decided abortions and other things. Now, of course, as we know, a few years ago, they turned over so that it is a lot more difficult to get an abortion. And regardless of whether you feel abortion is right or wrong, the reality is women die when that is not an option. And it has been documented that has been happening more and more. And the mortality rate for Black pregnant women was already higher because that's the reality for a lot of our health care. So I am, of course, a Black female, which means my nieces are Black women. I will one day be Black women. We've already had where, because part of abortions isn't just, okay, I don't want to be pregnant. It is considered an abortion if you have a miscarriage. If that doctor goes in and that doctor terminates that pregnancy, even though it is medically necessary, that still falls under an abortion. Mm-hmm. If you have an ectopic pregnancy, so you're pregnant in your tubes and there is no form of an ectopic pregnancy that is viable, which means that the baby would live, that doctor can't help you necessarily. And so that means that across this country, we have had where women have died because, especially in like Texas, Georgia, our cases out of Florida, but not as much as Texas and Georgia, where because there was still a heartbeat, they sent her home because the doctors don't want to risk their license. They don't want to risk jail time. So you have where women are becoming septic because medical care is delayed too long.
Yes.
You have women that are dying from something that if they just went in and cleared it out for their bodies, they would survive. So it's difficult to go with that, okay, I'm dying, and a baby that, if I die, they not gonna live either. Yes. But if they were delivered right now, can't survive without me. And a lot of these women already have children. So the living children matter less. And for some of the states, including ours, you basically have a doctor that has to go up to find a judge, even though the doctor is saying, hey, we need this, but we can't do it until we get permission from somebody that has no medical background. Right. That ain't they call. So we've made it where, okay, this fetus has rights. So if the baby is a baby from conception, but that apparently only matters in the medical as far as whether or not a woman can get an abortion or not, because your life insurance ain't going to give you no money because you cannot insure that pregnancy. Mm-hmm. So they don't have to pay out if you had that miscarriage, but if you terminate it, you can go to jail. If you have a miscarriage before the original date that abortion used to be cut off at, the medical professionals still count that as medical waste. They don't give you a death certificate. And I know they don't give you a death certificate because unfortunately we've experienced it in my family and I had to be there for it.
So what is it classified as?
It's the same thing it's always been. It's medical waste.
Well, see.
But after that 3-month mark, then you go into where they recognize that there was a person that died, and the medical community at the hospital will give you a death certificate. But before that point, you don't get a death certificate.
Really? So this is why I stopped you, because just as you said, I just did 2 different workshops on generational, the 4 different generations, because I wanted people, I did one for women and one for men, because I wanted us to see the difference in the different generations. But listening to you, we have no idea, really, because this is getting more technical depending on what you're dealing with. And even, like I said, with myself, I have to confess, because even I know that women were not allowed to vote. They couldn't work. They couldn't get a bank account. But if you wasn't in that time, that's like they say, if you don't wear that shoe, you won't know how it feels. But it's still important in this time that a lot of this information we are aware of, because I feel, and correct me if I'm wrong, that it appears that everything has grown so much more technical, because back in that day, I feel like people had more of a voice of what happened in their life or for their children. And nowadays, the courts or whoever law have more control of what you do.
That's because we gave it away. The law only takes what you give it. So what has happened is, say in generations past, people understood that complacency, which means not doing anything or not speaking up, had consequences. That if you wanted change, you had to be willing to do something for that change. And that sometimes doing something for that change is risky. You might lose your job. You might go to jail. You might get beat. You might die. But it was worth it to ensure that a future generation, that your children, your grandchildren didn't have to go through what you went through because you were willing to do that sacrifice for them. But over the years, as a whole, we moved from a community of we to a community of me. So just in my lifetime, growing up, if the school called my mama, well, first all, education mattered more than sports. It mattered more than extracurriculars. Education was top tier. And you went to school because that was your job. My job is to go to school, get my grades. Your job was, as a parent, was to go and get the money so that, I wasn't homeless and hungry. But we slowly moved from, okay, education is what you do, but everybody going to be professional athletes. Everybody going to be professional dancers. Everybody going to be something that makes money. But the reality is only a small percentage of people are going to do that. So your education matters. Even if you do those things, your education still matters, because getting $1 million contract that you can't read and understand, so you got to trust and rely on other people to tell you the truth, is a bad position to put yourself in.
Okay, so then what has happened, and I'll use the word on a simpler level, is we as a people has become weak. And that might not be a good word to use. We're not standing up for our
I
rights.
think that we've basically been convinced. Well, one, like I said, you can no longer check somebody else's child. When I was a child,
I agree.
whatever I showed out at, whatever
Yeah.
adult that was there was going to check me on it, correct me on it, then call and let somebody else know what happened. Now you have where people are more likely to record what happened and put it on social media, but nobody corrects it.
True.
Then online, everybody got an opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But part of the issue is legally, the only way that the government can stop someone from voting is by giving them a felony conviction.
Yeah.
So since that only stops some and you want to stop more, they convince people, especially our younger generations, that their votes don't matter. And so people don't vote because, well, that don't apply to me, or if I vote, what's that's gonna do? It don't change nothing. XYZ still happens. But people don't realize that for every single election that occurs, with the exception of the presidential election, it is determined vote by vote by vote. You can win or lose by exactly one vote. So the laws that happen, they're changed usually on the ballot. So, for example, the people agreed to some changes by not voting, because changing the viability rate so that people would have access to an abortion beyond 6 weeks, that was on the ballot.
Yeah, it was.
Let's take it to something that many of our people, especially our younger people, love: marijuana. Whether or not marijuana is legal or not, that's been on the ballot.
Yeah, it is.
Your property taxes is on the ballot.
Mm-hmm.
Who your sheriff is, who your state attorney is, who your public defender is, who your city and county commissioners are. Every single judge, all of that is on the ballot. So the people literally determine, and let's not forget our senators and representatives also on the ballot. So you have the ability as a person, through your vote, which is your voice, to hire and fire whoever makes you happy. So if things aren't going in a direction that you agree with, how you change that is, which we don't have to take no test to vote no more. You ain't got to have no certain property to vote no more. They can't give you a poll tax to vote no more. All you literally got to do is register and show up. And so if you don't show up,
yeah,
because, okay, you see that you have this particular judge, and you notice that this particular judge, if this person that looks like this comes in front of them, they get this punishment. But if this person comes and they look like this, they get this punishment. And you see that, okay, they're not applying the laws equally.
Mm-hmm.
You have a choice on whether that judge stay on the bench or not. If you have sheriffs that are, okay, they're always in this neighborhood, but they ain't never in that neighborhood, and they're bothering this set of people, and they don't never bother that set of people. You elected them. You pay their salaries.
True.
So if you show up and vote, you change all of that. If you don't like how the property taxes are, you vote to change that. But be aware, because there is something going around right now that, we're going to get rid of property taxes.
Yeah.
Understand that there goes two ways, because you have to ask yourself, okay, they don't get the money from here, where they going to get the money from?
Right.
So right now, only the people that have property pay for that. If it goes away, you have to consider, okay, how does that affect the rest of the people? Are they going to come up with something that everybody has to pay? So people that currently don't have to pay it, like renters, will now have to pay that. And will those people be able to pick up that extra expense when, let's face it, rents and stuff are already high?
Yes, it is. Very.
So you can't just look at things and you can't just take things off of, well, this person told me this, and on the internet it says this. At some point, you have to decide, all of us regularly decide that, okay, this is what I want to eat. This is how I want to wear my hair. This is what cologne I want to wear or what perfume I want to wear. I like these shoes. I like these colors. I want to live in this neighborhood. I want to drive this car. We put effort into researching when the next set of Jordans going to come out. Or, okay, do I want this car versus that car? If we take that same energy and apply it to the people that are making the decisions that basically affect our lives on a day-to-day basis, we can change a lot of stuff. If we don't like outcomes from the jury room, well, the jury box in courtrooms, there's an easy fix for that. Show up as a juror. We don't show up because A, that ain't got nothing to do with me, or B, they want me to sit over there all them time for that little bitty money. There are people, well, first you have to decide. Sometimes it's our friend or family member whose trial that is. Do you think their freedom and their life is worth that amount of time for somebody? Because if you want other people to show up when it's your people or you in the box,
Right. Mm-hmm.
you have to be willing to show up when it's not for you. Because the reality is, if we show up in enough numbers, everybody can get excluded from the jury box. But if
So-
there's only 2 or 3 of you, that's easy to knock out.
So you made the statement at the beginning of this that we've been convinced. How do you propose that we have been convinced? Is it just our ignorance? Is it things that have been told to us over a lifetime? Or is it just laziness? Or a combination of all of it?
It's a combination. We have to remember, say for children, children tend to learn from the people around them. So if you have a household of people that don't vote, chances are that household is going to produce a child that also doesn't vote.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
If you have where everybody in your circle is saying that voting don't matter, chances are nobody in that circle is going to go vote.
Right.
If you have where, because basically we tend to emulate what is around us. So we mimic what we see and what we hear. And so you have where people are like, well, and a lot of time they're looking at the presidential elections, but the presidential elections are different. Because for presidential elections, it doesn't, if enough of us show up to vote, we affect the outcome, but it's more difficult because it's not a vote by vote situation for president. The senators and the House kind of cast, we get a pool of votes, and that pool of vote goes towards one candidate, and they determine where it goes. But for every other election, like I said, it's one by one. So like in August, when it's my turn to go on the ballot, every person that shows up counts. If they cast a vote for me, when I get the numbers back, if it says that I have 1,687 votes, I got 1,687 people that showed up and selected my name on a box.
Mm-hmm.
If it says I have 6,324, that's the number of people that showed up and selected me. If there were 10,000 that showed up, that means roughly 62% selected me, which means I win. If it was 5,001, that means I win. If there was 10,000. Because that means 4,999 selected my opponent, 5,001 selected me. I win. Because it's one by one.
Can you pull up your Facebook page? Because is anybody on there? Because I'm gonna give them the opportunity to ask questions if you don't mind.
They were, but not at the moment.
There's nobody on there.
Is my Facebook even on here? Hold on.
Since you got your computer there, because I tagged you.
No, I am actually on my thing. So that is the circuit court judge one. And so it's public. And then now it's actually a website that's connected to my office page because we noticed that people kept going to the office page for information. Right now we have a poll for people that can't make it on weekends that want to learn more. I'm going to do some mock trials. Everybody like to watch the nice crime shows. Let's come see how well you do at deciding who did it. So we're going to do a murder mystery.
Okay, they can go on your website. Or
They
your
can go
Facebook
on the
page?
Facebook.com/Babers for Judge, BABERSFORJUDGE. And there is currently a poll that has a selection of dates days of the week with times that if you can make it, because this will probably start not this upcoming week, the following week, and I'll do it for 3 or 4 weeks because each section would take a part. So like say the first week we did the murder mystery. So now we have this person did it.
Huh? One person on? One person got a question.
She said join.
Oh, okay.
And so
Arrow down, because we should be up on your page.
let's find out.
Because
It is not showing. I don't know where we would find it at.
it should come
Cause
right
I
up.
am not
Click on home and see. I'm talking.
Wait,
The little house up there.
I ain't got no house at the top.
Mm-hmm.
I do.
Right there.
Ah.
And see if we, because I tagged you.
That took
Okay,
me to
I
my
don't know
thing.
why
Let's see, feeds. Nope.
Oh, okay. I don't know why. Because I tagged you. But anyway, so as far as you said the mark type classes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So say the first week we're gonna probably do a murder mystery, so somebody determines who the person is that did it. So the following week we will basically go through the different court steps that person that has been accused of being the murderer, what would they have to go through if they were arrested for it?
Mm-hmm.
What court appearances happen, what happens at each of those court appearances. And then probably the following week we will pick, if we have enough people, we'll go through what jury selection is like. And we may actually start a trial and then the last week finish one. So
So is
people
this
that want to
gonna-
pretend to be an attorney, they can come pretend to be an attorney. Somebody can pretend to be the judge. But
In person, online.
we can do it in person. It is planned for in person, but it will be streamed. So if anybody has questions or wants to participate virtually, they can. But it is intended to be done in person, so that you can actually, if there is evidence, look at the evidence.
And it's gonna be here.
It will be here at my office, 331 3rd Street Northwest, Winter Haven, Florida, 33881. But what we're trying to determine is what day of the week and time of the week would work best. So Tuesday at I think 6:30 and 7:30 is there, and I think the same times are there for Thursday, because we know that there are people that work with the funeral homes. They work every Saturday, so Saturday don't work for them. I have family that has, like, say, Crab Craze. They work every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I have cousins that their shifts are Friday through Sunday. So everybody isn't available on a Saturday morning. So what I may ultimately decide to do is have an option for Sunday evening, and then in addition to whatever day people select, so that the people that can't come during the week because they work during the week can come potentially on that Sunday. I would do Saturdays, but if I did Saturday, it would have to be a Saturday evening, because most of the Saturdays for now until the election, I'm supposed to be doing something or some will.
Of that.
So I wouldn't be able to do a Saturday morning. Plus, the catch with a Saturday morning is anybody that has unfortunately lost a person would be at a funeral on a Saturday morning. So it would have to be Saturday evening or Sunday evening, because Sunday morning is church.
Oh, okay. So, I see this as being very important to our community, not only as far as understanding all of the courts, the voting, and other things. I see this being very important. Even me just interviewing you this morning, but as we see things have gone on, I don't want to say our people don't feel like it's important. It's a lot of people that don't feel that it's important.
People, that's again a thing from our we to me. People are I don't want to say more selfish, but the internet and social media and cell phones and stuff, it makes us less connected.
True.
And that
I
lack
agree.
of connection makes it so that when things happen, unless it happens to you directly or to someone in your direct sphere, it's less personal. You don't have a connection to it the same way that you used to would have a connection to it. So we've become desensitized.
Correct.
And then that, because of the internet and stuff, you have a constant influx of all of the negative stuff. So we're aware of everything that happens worldwide.
Yes.
So all the bad news is shared all the time. So the same way as, we'll give a benign thing. Say if you have a grandfather's clock in your house, the same way you stop hearing that clock, or people that have that lovely fire alarm battery thingy that's low, that's ticking, the
Yeah.
same way that you're in that house and you stop hearing it, the more that we're exposed to all the negative, the less we pay attention to the negative, the less it matters until, again, it's something big.
Right.
And then the big makes the splash, and now we upset about the big. But it was so many littles, and those littles count too. So we have to make a conscious effort to remain connected. We have to make the conscious choice that, no, that's not my son, my daughter, my brother, my sister, my cousin, my mama, my uncle. It's not, but it's somebody's. That is just as important to show up for others as it is to show up when it's ours. Because if we don't get in the habit of showing up, nobody shows up. And then we get where we want person A charged and person A ain't charged, because guess who won on that grand jury to help make sure that person A got charged? Or person B got convicted, but person C didn't get convicted. And guess who didn't show up for jury duty so that we was in the box to have a decision on that say-so and what that's supposed to look like?
Yes.
Or, okay, they passed this law and now it's been, guess who didn't show up at the ballot booth to make sure that that didn't happen? Or, I don't like these decisions. Guess who didn't show up to put somebody in the box to make sure that the decisions were more aligned with what you do like?
Yeah.
Now, realistically, can we say that, okay, somebody's going to like, if I'm on the bench, every decision I make? No, that's unrealistic. But will they be able to say that I applied the laws that were in front of me equally and fairly, regardless of who was in front of me? Yes. Now, is that going to piss some people off? Probably.
Yeah.
Do I care? Not at all. Because, like I said in the beginning, it's not going to be personal. It's going to be my job. So I can't let my emotions dictate what that outcome looks like. Especially since that means on a day that I ain't in the best of moods, somebody might get slammed in a way that somebody on a different day that I'm in the greatest of moods doesn't. And that's not fair, because they have no control over how I feel right then. So I need to be able to do what's in front of me regardless. Now, if there are laws that come up that we see that, okay, this can go this way or that way, I do have the discretion of choosing which way I want to apply it and how I want that to look. But understand that it's going to be applied that way, so forth, every time. Because, again, fairness and equality matters.
Yeah.
And so the first time that something happens that it ain't exactly what somebody else decided, eventually it has to go from the courtroom that you're in. It gets appealed. It's a courtroom that's higher. It gets appealed to a courtroom that's higher. And then they decide, okay, how is this supposed to be applied? So that's how we got from separate but equal. Well, everybody had different schools, and as we know, they were definitely not equal, to now everybody going to the same spot.
Right.
That's how we got to that women, black men, LGBTQ, disabled, that everybody has this set of rights. It had to work its way up through the system, so the judges had to do their parts. the people had to do their parts because we all played a role in the system of checks and balances. Our country was set up where we're all created equal. To get to that, we're all created equal and it's applied equally, we have to do our parts. We have to check where, okay, that ain't what these people doing, and replace them with people who will. That's not what this set of laws do. Replace it with laws that will. People aren't passively living here. We're active participants. Whether we choose to do something actively or we just sit and it has, because regardless of whether you show up and vote or not, something's gonna happen. True. If you don't show up in August and vote, somebody's still gonna take the bench in January.
True.
So your lack of voting either A, prevents the person that you would have been happiest with from taking the bench, or it allows the person that you ain't happy with to take it. You can pick which angle. It's the same angle, just two different views. But either way, you had a chance to determine the outcome and you said no.
Yes, that's true. So as we discussed at the beginning of this, we know people's attention span is not that long and we've ran out of time. But this is one reason I decided to do my interviews differently from the regular podcast, because there's so many people putting podcasts out there now. People may and may not listen to them. I feel that is more important as how I met you in the community, and you're meeting people that has positions like you, or young people that are becoming entrepreneur or have started a business. This is why I do what I do on a Saturday, because I work Monday through Friday, so we can know who's in our community, who's willing to help, who has like them classes you got coming up. Because even though we go on Facebook a lot, nobody's basically gonna see that.
Well, your catch is as well, your algorithm shows you what you feed it.
Yes.
So if you don't feed your algorithm that, hey, I want to be educated on this, hey, I want to know more about this, hey, this interests me, your algorithm ain't gonna show it to you. Like I told someone, they were like, well, did you see this? I didn't see that. My algorithm doesn't show me fights. My algorithm doesn't show me most legal stuff. My algorithm shows me stuff that is either educational, like historical stuff. It shows me like stuff that makes me laugh, like little kitty videos or stuff. It shows me quotes that are enlightening or positive. So you train your algorithm on what you want. So if you put foolishness in, you're going to get foolishness out.
Yes.
So if you want something, basically everything comes down to your choices and you. If you want change, you got to make different choices.
Okay, my last question to you, because like I said, even though...
Don't worry, we can break it up into pieces. I'm recording this as well, and I'm going to send it to my person, and they will make it into the nice bite-sized pieces that people like, so that if you ain't got time for a whole meal, you can just take a snack.
Right, and that's what I was explaining to a lady. I was asking to help me with some of the things that I'm doing, even though I'm recording it, to put it in bites so it'll come back up. And that's what I was finna say. This is, even though, well, now they delete it after so many days, but still it comes up more than just us talking today, because you gave a lot of valuable information and things. They might be more willing to hear you because of you being in the community or out in the community or participating in the community more so. I know Grady Judd come on every day, and they might listen at him as we had the shooting at Spectrum.
Now they're going to listen to that whole thing that he do, because Grady is very entertaining.
Yes, because I met a lady at Joshua Giles' conference this week, And she said, "Oh, you from Polk County? I see this
Everybody
man
knows
with the
Grady,
coffee
baby.
cup, and he's so funny." I said,
Everybody
"Yes,
knows Grady.
that's my boss." I said, "Yeah, that's my boss." She talking about, "Oh,"
Everybody
I
knows
said,
Grady. And
"Yes,
Grady can sit there and talk for 45 minutes. And he's going to hold them captive for all 45 minutes because they want to hear the next word that comes out of his mouth.
yeah, that's true." And you're correct, because as far as everybody know him, because there is a lot of people, because we got the extension of the Polk State Center out there, and they come there for training for things that's been done here in Polk County. And I have a handicapped brother that's in a school in Gainesville, and my mom has dementia now. And
If she's not far enough into dementia that she can still sign stuff, there's paperwork that you need to get done before she goes far enough that she
I
needs.
already did all the power of
Good,
attorney
because
and
yeah,
all of that
once they go
stuff.
too deep, you have to get a
I
guardianship,
know, because
and guardianships are
I don't
expensive.
want to put all that on the camera, but
No, cut that part out when
Yeah.
you finish it.
yeah, so yeah, she I got all the pictures. That's what I was finna say. We didn't know she was that far into dementia. She wasn't handling the paperwork, and a whole bunch of stuff
Trust
went
me,
through.
we have a large number, or have had a large number of people in my family that had dementia or Alzheimer's. That's what my grandma passed from. That's what, offhand, at least 5 or 6 of her siblings passed from, and multiple of her nieces and nephews. So my family is unfortunately very, very familiar with Alzheimer's dementia.
Yeah. So anyway, I appreciate the interview today. We have gotten a lot of valuable information, and I wish we could go on and on and on, but we'll set up something where I can advertise on my page the different classes that you're offering, and I can because I participate in a lot of different organizations too, let them know what you're offering, and we'll just go from there. But we appreciate your interview today, and thank you for taking out the time.
No problem. Now I got to decide. I think I want to go to the beach, the pool, somewhere. But have a great rest of the day.
And you too. Let me finish this. But
This
yeah,
is yours.
thank you.
Hey, Sunshine.
And like I was saying,
Oh, that's my
went
phone.
through a lot with my sisters and